Islam, and thank you all for joining us. Um, we are on part two. We had some equipment failure here, but we are back, and we're back on point. Going back over on page three, we was reading through the genealogy of Jesus with 18 years, and we left off here at dear fathers. By these lessons, you can set your house in order, and your children will learn to love instead of to hate. The lessons of this pamphlet, the lessons of this pamphlet are not for sale, but for the sake of humanity, as I am a prophet and a servant is worthy of his hire, you can receive this pamphlet at expense. The reasons these lessons have not been known is because the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine had these secrets and kept them back from the outside world until the time appointed and when the time appointed by Allah, it loosened the keys and freed these secrets. And for the first time in ages, have these secrets been delivered in the hands of the Muslims of America. All authority and rights of publishing of this pamphlet of 1927, and that's a very important, significant date in history. And we're going to go through that timeline to examine the beginning, some of the things, not just the beginning in 1927, but 1927, the beginnings to go into the work that the prophet was doing, dealing with the organizing of this movement between the period of 1913 and 1929, and the publishing of our Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, which I just got done reading the prelude before I jump into the chapter here. And we was just breaking down, before I went over into the prelude, we was looking at the Sultan, and let's see here. That's not showing up pretty good. And then we had some equipment failure. So we back on with part two of our Holy Day meeting with the Grand Sheikh of Temple 13, Brother P. Miles Ill. And I am excited this evening to be here with you on part two of our Holy Day meeting. Islam and praise Allah. And just bear with me in one moment. 1 second here.
Islam, Morris.
And then we get this equipment out the way real quick.
Bring this down. All right. Hold on. One more button. Okay. All right. Okay. So we back on here. And Islam. My apologies. We had some technical difficulties. But let's get back on the right path here. Let's get back in the right energies. And so I was reading from page 3 of our Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America from the prelude section. And the prophet was teaching us in the opening statements from the divine instructions from the Holy Prophet. He said, know thyself and thy Father God Allah. And then he goes into breaking down the industrious acts of the Muslims of Northwest and Southwest Africa. These are the Moabites, Hammonites, Canaanites who were driven out of the land of Canaan by Joshua and received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle in that portion of Egypt. In later years, they formed themselves kingdoms. These kingdoms are called this day Morocco, Algiers, Tunis, Tripoli, etc. Before we go into our measure, I would like to examine I like to examine um, chapter 12. I like to introduce our thought, our minds to Jesus, Prophet Jesus, and our brother as he goes and build with one of his fellow masterminds. And this is from page 12 of the Divine Instructions from the Holy Prophet. And this is chapter 7. The title is The Friendship of Jesus and Lamas. Jesus explains to Lamas the meaning of truth. And in this time and era, truth, well, I guess in all times and era, truth is supreme. So I'll just dive right in. Among the priests of Jarwaneth was one who loved the Jewish boy. Lamas Brahmas was the name by which the priest was known. One day, as Jesus and Lamas walked along in the plaza, Lamas said, my Jewish master, what is truth? And Jesus said, truth is the only thing that changes not. In all the world, there are two things. The one is truth, the other is falsehood, and falsehood that which seems to be. Now, truth is aught and has no cause, and yet it is the cause of everything. Falsehood is not, and yet it is the manifest of right. Whatever has made man, whatever has been made will be unmade. That which begins must end. All things that can be seen by human eyes are manifest of aught, are not, and so must pass away. The things we see are but reflexes, just appearing while the ethers vibrate so and must pass away. Islam, excuse me. Divine Instruction 9. It states, the things we see are but reflexes, just appearing while the ethers vibrate so. And when conditions change, they disappear. The holy breath is truth, is that which was and is and evermore shall be and cannot pass away. Lamas said, you answer well. Now what is man? And Jesus said, man is the truth and falsehood strangely mixed. Man is the breath made flesh. It's, man is the breath made flesh. So truth and falsehood are conjoined in him. And then they strive and naught goes down, and man as truth abides. Again, Lamas asks, what do you say of power? And Jesus said, it is the manifest. It is the result of force. It is but not. It is an illusion, nothing more. Force changes not, but power changes as the ethers change. Divine Instruction 14. Again, Lamas asks, what do you say of power? And Jesus said, It is a manifest. It is the result of force. It is but not. It is an illusion, nothing more. Force changes not, but power changes as the ethers change. Force is the will of Allah and is omnipotent, and power is that will and manifest directed by the breath. There is a power in the wind, a power in the waves, a power in the lightning strokes, a power in the human arm, a power in the eye. The ethers cause these powers to be in thought of Elohim, of angel, man, or other thinking things, directs the force. When it has done its work, the power is no more. And Jesus said, no, Islam, Divine Instruction 19. Again, Lamas asks, of understanding, what have you to say? And Jesus said, it is the rock on which man builds himself. It is the genosis of naught, Islam. It is the genosis of aught and of the naught, of falsehood and of truth. It is the knowledge of the lower self, the sensing of the powers of man himself. And Jesus said, Islam, excuse me, I'm moving too fast. A very exciting chapter. Divine Instruction 21. It is the knowledge of the lower self, the sensing of the powers of man himself. Divine Instruction 22. Again, Lamas asks of wisdom, what have you to say? And Jesus said, it is the consciousness that man is aught, that Allah and man are one, that naught is naught, that power is but an illusion, that heaven and earth and hell are not above, around, below, but in, which in the light of aught becomes naught, and Allah is all. Lamas asks, pray, what is faith? And Jesus said, faith is the surety of the omnipotence of Allah and man, the certainty that man will reach deific life. Divine Instruction 27. Salvation is the ladder reaching from the heart of man to the heart of Allah. It has 3 steps. Belief is first, and this is what man thinks perhaps is true, and faith is next, and this is what man knows is true. Fruition is the last, and this is man himself, the truth. Belief is lost in faith, and in fruition faith is lost, and man is saved when he has reached deific life, and when he has Islam, when he and Allah are one. So I'm going to read that again. I'm going to start back at 28, Divine Instruction 28. In fact, Divine Instruction 27. And this is Jesus talking. He says, salvation is a ladder reaching from the heart of man to the heart of Allah. It has 3 steps. Belief is first, and this is what man thinks perhaps is truth. And faith is next, and this is what man knows is truth. Fruition is the last, and this is man himself, the truth. Belief is lost in faith, and in fruition, faith is lost, and man is saved when he has reached deific life, when he and Allah are one. And so now, and I'll say peace. And so now that concludes our opening. And I wanted to come with that chapter and hear from Prophet Jesus, our brother, to get us conditioned, to receive the great God Allah, to get us conditioned for this said truth. We got to get conditioned for this truth because we've been out of shape. We ain't exercised our rights in a very long time because we just don't know. That's why the prophet opens up and say, well, hey, know thyself. He said, know thyself and our Father God Allah. We've been running around here knowing about everybody else. Why we don't know about who we are? Why we don't know about our relationship with the Creator? Why we don't know about our divine covenant and divine creed? We worry about everybody else. Man can only be what he knows. Man can only be, and then when he's dealing in fruition, he don't even need faith and belief, not in a negative way, but it just, you graduated from that. You know about the great God Allah. You know where the great God exists at, in the heart. And so we're gonna go into this measure, because we ain't gonna keep y'all here all night. So we're gonna go into this measure. The divine instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter 47, Egypt, the capital empire of the Dominion of Africa. The inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family were second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexem, the first true and divine name of Africa. Okay, the dividing of the land between the father and the son. The dominion of Cush, northeast and southeast Africa, and northwest and southwest was his father's dominions of Africa. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined them. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa. They were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren who sojourned from the land of Canaan seeking new homes. Their dominions and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa, across the great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands before the great earthquake, which caused the great Atlantic Ocean. The river Nile was dreaded and made by the ancient pharaohs of Egypt in order to trade with the surrounding kingdoms. Also, the Niger River was dreaded by the great pharaoh of Egypt in those ancient days for trade, and it extends eastwards from the river Nile westward across the great Atlantic. It was used for trade and transportation. According to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family, because all the inhabitants of Africa were and are of the human race, descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the Holy Land of Canaan. What your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction. There is no one who was able to change man from the descendant nature of his forefathers, unless his powers extend beyond the great universal creator Allah himself. These holy and divine laws are from the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the Uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America. These laws are to be strictly preserved by the members of all temples of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that they would learn to open their means and guide it according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Every subordinate temple of the Grand Major Temple was to form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali was sent by the great God Allah to warn all Asiatics of America to repent from their sinful ways, because before the great and lawful day which is sure to come, the time has come when every nation must worship under his own vine and fig tree, and every tongue must confess his own. Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that they honor not the creed and principles of their forefathers. That is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774. And the word Negro, black, and color was given to the Asiatics of America, who were of Moorish descent, because they honor not the principles of their mother and father, and strayed after the gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing. And so I just wanted to examine that from the Prophet, so we can learn these said truth, that we are at home aboriginal and indigenous to the land. And so without your awareness, your consciousness, the wisdom, you have no authority, no power. You don't even recognize the force that is operating within you. And you don't even recognize that you have an obligation to preserve these holy and divine laws, to strictly preserve them and to enforce the law. And so this is a very important time that we must know our nationality, so we can know where we at. We're not even attached to the land in most cases. And so the history is very important. And let's see here. Let's go into this measure. So the political birthright is here. And as you can see, we were dealing with the Moroccan Empire, as we just got done reading, that the prophet brought this education to our shores, brought it back and redeemed it, restored it for us to know. So we could know about our political birthright as Moorish Americans, descendants of Moroccans and born in America. And we standing on our empire, which extends over to North, South, Central America, Mexico, and the adjoining islands. And as you can see, the treaty was sealed at Morocco with the seal of the Emperor of Morocco, June 23rd, 1786. So this was before the issuing of the United States Constitution of, the American Constitution for the United States Republic of 1787, ratified in 1789. And as you can see, the certified English translation of the treaty and of additional articles were incorporated in a document signed and sealed by the ministers plenipotentiary of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, at Paris, January 1st, 1787, and John Adams, London, January 25th, 1787. And this treaty and additional articles was ratified by the United States July 18th, 1787. Also to the ratification generally see the notes, treaty, and additional articles proclaimed July 18th, 1787. Ship signals agreement not specified or not specifically included in the ratification and not proclaimed, but copies ordered by Congress January 23rd, 1787 to be sent to the executives of states. The secret journals of Congress 4869, but see the notes as to this reference. Certified translation of the treaty and of the additional articles with approval by Jefferson and John Adams. And it states that all persons to whom these presents shall come or be made known, whereas the United States of America and Congress assembled by their commission bearing date the 12th day of May 1784, thought proper to constitute John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson, their ministers plenipotentiary, given to them, or majority of them, full powers to confer, treat, and negotiate with the ambassador, ministers, or commissioner of His Majesty, the Emperor of Morocco, concerning a treaty of amity and commerce, to make and receive propositions for such treaty, and to conclude and sign the same, transmitting it to the United States and Congress assembled for their final ratification, and by one other commission bearing date the 11th day of March 1785, did further empower the said ministers plenipotentiary, or a majority of them, by writing under the hands and seals, to appoint such agent in the said business as they might think proper, with the authority under direction and instruction of the said ministers, commence to prosecute the said treaty and conferences for the said treaty, provided absent said that the said treaty should be signed by the said ministers, and whereas we, the said John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, two of the said ministers plenipotentiary, the said Benjamin Franklin being absent, by writing under the hand and seal of the John Adams at London, the 5th, 1785, and of the said Thomas Jefferson at Paris, October the 11th of the same year, did appoint Thomas Barclay, agent in the business aforesaid, giving him the powers therein, which by the said second commission we were authorized to give, and the said Thomas Barclay, in pursuance thereof, have arranged articles for a treaty of amity and commerce between the United States of America and His Majesty the Emperor of Morocco, with the articles written in the Arabic language confirmed by His said Majesty the Emperor of Morocco and his seal by his royal seal being translated into the language of the said United States of America, together with the attestation thereto annexed, are in the following words to wit, in the name of the Almighty God. This is a treaty of peace and friendship established between us and the United States of America, which is confirmed and which we have ordered to be written in this book and sealed with our royal seal at our court of Morocco on the 25th day of the blessed month of Shaban in the year 1200. Trusting in God, it will remain the same. One, we declare that both parties have agreed to this treaty consisting of 25 articles shall be inserted in this book and delivered to the Honorable Thomas Barclay, the agent of the United States now at our court, with whose approbation it has been made, who is duly authorized on their part to treat with us concerning all matters contained therein. If either of the parties shall be at war with any nation whatever, the other party shall not take a commission from the enemy nor fight under their colors. 3. If either of the parties shall be at war with any nation whatever, and take a prize belonging to that nation, there shall be found on board subjects or effects belonging to either of the parties. The subject shall be set at liberty, and the effects returned to the owners. If any goods belonging to any nation with whom other parties, either of the parties shall be at war, shall be loaded on vessels belonging to one other party, they shall pass free and unmolested without any attempt being made to take or detain them. 4. A signal or pass shall be given to all vessels belonging to both parties, by which they are to be known when they meet at sea, and if the commander of a ship of war of either party shall have other ships under his convoy, the declaration of the commander shall alone be sufficient to exempt any of them from examination. 5. If either of the parties shall be at war, shall meet a vessel at sea belonging to the other, it is agreed that if an examination is to be made, it shall be done by sending a boat for 2 or 3 men only. And if a gun shall be bred, and injury done without reason, the offending party shall make good on all damages. 6. If any more shall bring citizens of the United States or their effects to His Majesty, the citizens shall immediately be set at liberty and effects restored in the like manner. If any more not a subject of these dominions shall make prize of any of the citizens of America on their effects and bring them into any of the ports of His Majesty, they shall be immediately released, as they will then be considered under His Majesty's protection. 7. If any vessel or either party shall put into a port of other and have occasion for provision or other supplies, they shall be furnished without interruption or molestation. Like we missing one. 9. If any vessel of the United States shall be cast on shore or any part of our coast, she shall remain at the disposition of the owners, and no one shall attempt going near her without approbation, as she is then considered particularly under our protection. And if any vessel of the United States shall be forced to put into our ports by stress of weather or otherwise, shall not be compelled to land her cargo, but shall remain in tranquility be cast on shore of the coast of Wide Noon or the coast thereabout. The people belonging to her shall be protected and assisted until by the help of God they shall be sent to their country. 11. If we shall be at war with any Christian power or any vessel, or any of our vessels sail from the ports of the United States, no vessel belonging to the enemy shall follow until 24 hours after the departure of our vessel, and the same regulation shall be observed towards the American vessels sailing from our ports, be their enemies Moors or Christians. If any ship of war belonging to the United States shall put into our ports to any of our ports, she shall not be examined on whatever, on any pretense, whatever, even though she should have fugitive slaves on board. Nor shall the governor or commander of the place compel them to be brought on shore on any pretext not required any payment for them. 13. If a ship of war of either power shall put into our ports of the other and salute, it shall be returned from the fort with an equal number of guns, with not with more or less. 14. The commerce with the United States shall be on the same footing as the commerce with Spain, or as that with the most favored nation for the time being, and their citizens shall be respected and esteemed and have full liberty to pass and repass our country and seaports whenever they please without interruption. 16. In the case of a war between the parties, the prisoners are not to be made slaves, but to be exchanged one for another, captain for captain, officer for officer, and one private man for another. And if there shall prove a deficiency on either side, should be made up by the payment of 100 Mexican dollars for each person wanted. And it is agreed that all prisoners shall be exchanged in 12 months from the time of their being taken, and that this exchange may be effected by merchant or any other person authorized by either of the parties. 17. Merchants shall not be compelled to buy or sell any kind of goods, but such as they shall think proper, and may buy and sell sorts of merchandise, but such as are prohibited to the other Christian nations. 18. All goods shall be weighed and examined before they are sent on board, and avoid all detentions of vessels. No examination shall afterwards be made unless it shall be first proved that contraband goods have been sent on board, in which case the person who took the contraband goods on board shall be punished according to the usage and customs of the country, and no other person shall be injured, nor shall the ship or cargo incur any penalties or damage whatever. 19. No vessel shall be detained in port, or any presence whatever, nor be obliged to take on board any article without the consent of the commander, who shall be at full liberty to agree for the freight of any goods he takes on board. 20. If any of the citizens of the United States or any person under their protection shall have any disputes with each other, the council shall decide between the parties. And whenever the council shall require any aid or assistance from our government to enforce his decisions, it shall be immediately granted to him. 21. If a citizen of the United States shall kill or wound a Moor, or on the contrary, if a Moor shall kill or wound a citizen of the United States, the law of the country shall take place and equal justice shall be rendered. The council assisting at the trial, and if any delinquent shall make his escape, the council shall not be answerable for him in any matter whatever. 22. If any American citizen shall die in that country and no will shall appear, the council shall take possession of his effects, and if there shall be no council, the effects shall be disposited in the hands of some person worthy of trust until the party shall appear, who has the right to demand them. But if the heir to the person deceased be present, the property shall be delivered to him without interruption. And if the will shall appear, the property shall descend agreeable to that will, as soon as the council shall declare the validity thereof. 23. The councils of the United States shall reside at any seaport of our dominions that they shall think proper, and they shall be respected and enjoy all the privileges which the councils of any other nation enjoy. And if any other citizen of the United States shall contract any debts or engagements, the council shall not be in any manner accountable for them, unless he shall have given a promise in writing for the payment or fulfilling thereof, without which promise in writing no application to him for any redress shall be made. 24. If any differences shall arise by either party fitting on any other articles of this treaty, peace and harmony shall remain notwithstanding in the fullest force until a friendly application shall be made for an arrangement, and until the application shall be rejected. No appeal shall be made to arms, and if a war shall break out between the parties, 9 months shall be granted to all the subjects of both parties to dispose of their effects and retire with their property. And it is further declared that whatever indulgence in trade or otherwise shall be granted to any other Christian powers, the citizens of the United States shall be equally entitled to them. 25. This treaty shall continue in full force with the help of God for 50 years. We have delivered this book in the hands The before mentioned Thomas proclaimed on the first day of the blessed month of Ramadan in the year 1200, I certify that the annex is a true copy of the translation made by Isaac Cortazar Nunez, interpreter at Morocco, of the treaty between the Emperor of Morocco and the United States of America. Those Barclay. So there you have it. We just went over a big chunk of information to allow the reader and the viewers to get a better scope, a more holistic scope of their political birthrights and statuses that's preserved in the #1 law in the world, and it's called nationality. So take this opportunity to learn more about your nationality. Reach out to us. We'll teach you more about your nationality, your birthrights, and your divine creed. I want to say thank you all for joining us this evening. I will now read the divine warning from the Holy Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, to close us out. Islam. Prophet warns all Muslims, government ordered to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequences. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice deal must take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law that's laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their bark. They should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turbans and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. If the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. Prophet is therefore sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. By order of the prophet, Noble Drew Ali, peace. And so, thank you for joining us. I have a ton of announcements. Make sure you go to voteprince.org right now and contribute $5 to $10. Subscribe for as much as you was able. I'm running for Oakland County Commissioner, and as a legislator, obviously I'm pro-American legislation, American first legislation. I believe in taking care, like the prophet teaches us here. I brought you everything you need to save the nation. Take it and save yourselves. We gotta protect our country, got to protect our communities, we got to protect our families. So I believe in taking care of us first through legislation, through the law that secures our economy, that secures holding our institutions accountable to perform. That's what protects our country, our nation. We got to make sure that we're strong in our households, strong as individuals, strong as a community, strong as a nation, strong as a county. All of these are absolutely essential. I'm pro-God, I'm pro-law and order, I'm pro-family, maintaining and preserving our American values, our Moorish American values, which American values encompasses all of that because it's the greatest melting pot ever assembled. And so our Constitution respects the rights, liberties, and freedoms of every citizen. And that Constitution is our responsibility to protect and defend and guarantee those freedoms that's embedded and secured by that Constitution. So I'm here for the people. And so go right now to voteprince.org. That's voteprince.org. And then also, when you're done with that, go and subscribe for as much as you were able to support the uplifting of fallen humanity, the domestic work of Temple number 13, to make sure that we mitigate this pandemic for the benefit of our people. And so you can visit us at msta13gov.com. That's msta13gov.com. Please support us. We thank you very much. We love you all. Peace and love, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Um, focus on your personal health. And I'll come see you guys Sunday, 2 to 4. Make sure you tune in for our Divine Sunday School. It's going to be electrifying. We're going to deal more about nationality, your nationality identification card, and how to impact change in your life with this said knowledge under our Constitution. So continue to study the Constitution, continue to learn more about the history, learn your part in all of this. Thank y'all. I can't thank you enough. We love y'all from Temple number 13. And I'm going to say peace. All rise and say prayer with me. And also, before we go, I'd like to bring some attention to our divine charter, giving honors to our divine charter, which represents our lawful and divine and legal right to practice Islamism in America, to teach the world the truth of the divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, and Noble Jew Ali, and these divine lessons that they taught of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. That is the foundation of our American Constitution of the United States of America. And so our charter was originally issued by Prophet Noble Drew Ali in 1925, and it was reissued by Brother R. Love Ill January the 2nd, 1996 in the county of Oakland, Pontiac, Michigan. So give our honors to our divine charter. Y'all come out and join us. Join us here. We're right here at 53.5 West Huron Street, Suite 215, Pontiac, Michigan. Come and join this divine and national movement. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all joining us tonight. 2 on the right, 5 on the left, which represents the 7 eyes of Allah, or the 7 days of the week as you know it, or the 7 Elohims that created everything that ever was and ever will be. Islam. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my God, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. I want y'all to take this opportunity to greet your brothers and sisters all over the world. Go out and give somebody a hug and convey the message of love. Peace.